Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that is going to completely shatter pretty much everything we've been taught about corporate grind culture. I want to introduce you to an incredibly unlikely protagonist. Meet Oscar. Now, Oscar wasn't your typical hustle culture tech bro, right? No, he was a legendary desk napper. He was a notorious slacker who somehow managed to fundamentally rewire how an entire industry thinks about human effort. Okay, let's dive into this. That iconic adage? It perfectly captures Oscar's entire philosophy on life and work. We start our story inside a massive tech company that was just bleeding time, money, and resources. Management was totally stumped. They were relying on these incredibly expensive consultants to fix a massive crisis, completely unaware that their actual salvation was currently sitting in a cubicle, trying to take a nap at his desk. So the crisis hits a total boiling point in Chapter 1, the 5-minute refund. To give you some context, the company's totally unoptimized system meant that processing a single customer refund took 3 agonizing hours. Well, one day, the CEO storms into the office, completely red in the face, panicking over a severely delayed $50,000 transaction. The client was threatening some pretty severe legal action, and the CEO points directly at a half-asleep Oscar to process it right then and there. I mean, the entire office was literally bracing for disaster. But Oscar? He barely even looked up from his phone. He just mumbled, "Gimme 5 minutes." And to the absolute shock of everyone in that room, he announced the million-dollar headache was completely resolved exactly 4 minutes later. You're probably wondering, how on earth is that even possible? Well, think about the sheer contrast here. Management had paid consultants a fortune to study this ridiculously overcomplicated 47-step refund procedure filled with redundant verifications. Oscar, on the other hand, had spent one afternoon secretly coding a one-click auto-script that just bypassed 30 approval steps altogether. And why did he do it? Simply so he could finish his daily work in minutes and spend the rest of his day watching YouTube videos. He literally humiliated the expensive consultants completely by accident. Instead of firing him for bypassing corporate protocol, the executives were just stunned by the sheer efficiency of it all. Which brings us to Chapter 2, the Department of Laziness. The CTO actually called Oscar in and offered him what Oscar considered a total nightmare promotion, heading up a brand new company-wide automation department. Oscar accepted, but only on his own hilarious, completely non-negotiable terms. He demanded to work from home, he wanted totally flexible hours, and, critically, he insisted on keeping his personal office mini fridge. He then went out and built a super team of self-proclaimed slackers. We're talking hand-picked employees like Mela, who originally got in trouble for rigging a photocopier just so she wouldn't have to stand up, and Blake, who secretly auto-generated his own weekly status reports. Now, what's really interesting about this is what happened when other departments pushed back. They tried to sabotage his systems out of fear their own jobs would become obsolete. But Oscar didn't even bother fighting them manually. He just built an automated trap to catch their digital fingerprints, got them fired, and then instantly hired them for his own team. The results of this wildly unconventional team were absolutely staggering. Within 3 years, Oscar's new department dropped company processing times by 90%, and they saved a jaw-dropping $50 million in operational costs. To put that into perspective, that's a massive corporate turnaround. And the best part? Oscar was still taking 2-hour lunches and watching Netflix at his desk. He was even offered triple his salary by a rival company at one point, but he declined it with an automated email because, honestly, writing a resignation letter was just too much work. You can see how his creations just snowballed over time. What started as a simple refund script in year 1 evolved into complex systems like Lazy AI in year 2, the Meeting Mortician in year 3, and eventually scaled all the way up to massive government infrastructure with Govient by year 5. Every single one of these inventions was born out of his relentless, unwavering desire to simply do less manual work. And that incredible snowball effect leads us right into Chapter 3, automating the executives. So the parent company demands that Oscar travel to 17 different branches to replicate his success. But he masterfully bypassed the travel entirely by selling the board an automated implementation system for $500,000. A system, by the way, that he casually admitted to building while he was bored at a company Christmas party. With total creative control and an unlimited budget, Oscar's team began eliminating entire job categories that simply shouldn't have existed in the first place. Think about this. Their payroll department went from 25 staff members down to just 3. HR's hiring process shrank from 6 agonizing weeks to just 6 hours. They were completely rethinking what humans actually needed to be doing in the office. I love this breakdown of how Oscar playfully prioritized his day. 90% Netflix and naps, and 10% revolutionizing corporate infrastructure. It sounds like a complete joke, right? But it's entirely real. He even created Lazy AI, which was an AI that literally automated the process of designing automation just so he could maintain his intense commitment to deep napping at his desk. The impact of Lazy AI was immediate and undeniable. In the research division alone, it caused a 40% cost reduction while actually increasing output by 60%. And Oscar didn't stop there. He unveiled another tool called Mega Lazy. This tool accurately predicted a massive tech industry wave of mass resignations, basically proving that employees everywhere were burning out from the exhaustion of performative productivity. And this brilliantly illustrates the creation of Oscar's meeting mortician. When executives complained about his tools dismantling their management structures, Oscar proved they were literally just recycling the exact same slides for 12 months straight. His AI attended the virtual meetings for them, took all the notes, and dropped human meeting attendance by 90%. It forced executives to stop talking and start actually innovating. We are now moving into Chapter 4, Rewriting the Rules of Work, where Oscar's impact transcends his own company. Fortune 500 companies were desperately trying to rent his brain, but he turned them down because becoming a billionaire simply sounded too exhausting. In fact, when a startup tried to buy out his entire automation portfolio, Oscar couldn't even be bothered to attend the intense negotiations. He just let his AI haggle with their AI in secret for a whole month. The results? A staggering $7 billion buyout, but included, and I kid you not, a lifetime supply of pizza. We're talking AI systems negotiating multi-billion-dollar deals all because a human wanted his weekend completely free. He even targeted the C-suite directly with his absolute magnum opus, the BossBot 3000. This was an AI CEO designed to run entire companies, based on minimal bureaucracy and maximum efficiency. But here's the genius part. It wasn't designed to fire the human CEO. Instead, it freed the CEO from mind-numbing spreadsheets and endless status meetings, allowing them to finally focus on actual vision, inspiration, and genuine human connection. Oscar's philosophy eventually trickled down to the next generation through a highly controversial educational platform pilot. Instead of doing repetitive math worksheets, kids were taught to code their own automation scripts. Most importantly, they learned to question every single inefficiency. They stopped asking how to do the busy work, and they started asking whether the work even needed to be done at all. Let's move forward and see how this builds, because eventually the president's office called Oscar to modernize the federal government. He built Govishant in a single week. But get this, he intentionally spent 2 months making the code run slower. Why? Because as he put it, politicians need time to adjust to being efficient. It's literally traumatic for them. Reviewing the aftermath, exactly 5 years since that first initial refund script, the Oscar effect is undeniable. We're looking at a 10x revenue increase, plummeting turnover rates, and a culture where meetings are strictly optional. A whole new generation of the workforce now enters the office proudly wearing productively lazy as a total badge of honor. So the crucial point is Oscar's core philosophical takeaway: productive laziness. It's the absolute refusal to participate in the waste of performative work. We've spent a century optimizing humans to serve systems, but Oscar flipped it entirely to optimize systems to serve humans. Human laziness, when it's properly channeled to eliminate waste, is a profound paradigm shift for true innovation. This story completely shatters our traditional corporate metrics. We have spent decades measuring an employee's potential by how hard they look like they're working, completely missing out on the brilliant solutions from people who just wanted to find an easier way to get things done. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Are you working hard to achieve results, or are you just working hard to look busy?